Louisiana beer reviews. Pabst Blue Ribbon, hard coffee, hazelnut. 5% alcohol. It says malt beverage with natural and artificial flavors. Contains milk and hazelnut. Brewed and packaged by 12.5 Beverage Company, Neenah, Wisconsin, for the Pabst Brewing Company of San Antonio, Texas. I checked the 12.5 Beverage Company's website. They make their own brands of coffee beer, and they only make coffee beer mixtures. That's what they do. Okay, and it's got a adhesive label, a shrink wrap label, plastic, which is unusual for macro beers, but this is a mass-produced beer produced by a craft beer company. Okay. This was like $19.96 for an 8-pack at Walmart. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. There are a couple of video reviews for it. I don't know what they're saying on Untappd. I'll check it out. Usually with these kind of things, Untappd is kind of, they sort of like it. Usually Beer Advocate and Rapier won't even list these things because they say it's not a true beer. Well, that's actually the case. They're not a true beer. They're a beer-based beverage product. And you might say, that's why Germany's got it going on. They have the purity law. They don't allow this kind of stuff in their country. That's right. They do not allow this stuff to be sold or produced in their country as beer. They allow it to be sold as a malt, a flavored malt beverage product. So much for the purity law. They have all kind of concoctions in Germany, but they're not sold as beer. They're sold, like I said, as flavored malt beverages or malt-based flavored beverages. So it's the same thing in the United States. You can't sell strong beer, but you can sell high-gravity lager. You can sell malt liquor, and so forth. So these laws are like pie crust. They're meant to be broken. And they're not actually breaking the law. They're working around the law in connivance with the government who made the law because they don't want to turn down the tax revenue. All right, enough of that. It looks like a cold brew coffee that you would get at one of these places like Starbucks, which are going to cost you more than $2.50 a can or bottle, that's for sure. You see these all around in the stores, in the bottles and cans. People pick them up to go. If you drank this at a place where you weren't supposed to be drinking it, it's pretty unlikely anybody would think you were drinking anything illicit. They would just think you're drinking a cafe au lait, coffee and cream, coffee and milk aroma. And if they tasted it, they would never think it was alcohol, that it contained alcohol. Now, in this case, in the case of the hazelnut, I might be picking up a little beer malt. Now the malt is produced in a way that is supposed to be odorless and colorless like a vodka, beer vodka, but I'm picking up something here. And there's milk, cream, coffee. Don't know about the hazelnut. Let's go to taste. Cheers. First time I ever tried this in my life. Yeah. I don't have a lot of experience with hazelnut, but I know it has this kind of flavor, this unique flavor. It has that. It's demure. It's mild. It's not the lead. The lead flavor is coffee and milk. And there's that underbody of beer, which you may or may not detect. You probably wouldn't detect it if you're not thinking about it. If you drink this blind, with no pre-education of it, you know what I'm saying, you would just think it was cold brew coffee. If somebody saw you drinking it and they tasted some of it, they would think the same. They wouldn't say, you're drinking on the job, or so forth. No. They wouldn't think that. So are these good undercover shutdown products? You got to evaluate and make that determination. There's a sheen of lacing on the glass, as you can see, from the milk. You know, milk leaves that sheen. It's like medium to dark roasted coffee. So the roast is medium to dark. The milk is there. The sugar is there. Bitterness units, forget it. No bitterness. 0 out of 5 hop cones. Although it's a malt beverage, so it has to contain a certain amount of hop products. Legally, doesn't mean they have to be bitter, though. Particularly bitter. And even if they are, they're probably so overwhelmed by the sugar that they would only balance the beer. Help round it out. The malt beverage. Body, low medium. Finish, it's like 52% sweet, 48% dry. It's barely sweet in the finish. Now in the flavor, the sweetness is like 4 out of 5 sugar cubes. So I think this contains a lot of table sugar. If you drink your coffee straight with no cream or sugar, I don't know why you're buying this. Now you might say, oh, but I like these kind of things. I drink my coffee straight with no cream or sugar for dietary reasons or whatever. Okay, different story. The milk smell like some old milk bucket in a barn. Like it's, you say, you mean rancid? Yeah, like, you might say, is this some old milk bucket in a barn in Wisconsin? The date's got me a little confused. The code, because it's saying 1721 HS. Is that the 172nd day of 2021? I know it's not the 721st day of 2021. So it's got to be 172.1. So it's kind of old at Walmart. They usually have a high turnover rate. Strange. HS. HS. High school. 16 hours and 49 minutes. What, 4:49 p.m.? I don't know. It doesn't taste like it's turned or bad or old. It doesn't taste old. A lot of beers, they taste stale. They be tasting stale. But I don't know. The smell is kind of. It's probably but honestly, it's probably the hazelnut. Honestly, folks, it's probably the hazelnut. I don't have a lot of experience with hazelnut. What do I know for hazelnut? And even if I did, it wouldn't even matter because the other thing, but I don't know a lot about hazelnut, and that's the truth. But I think I probably like it. I think I could get into it. I think I could deal with it. I wouldn't kick it out of the ice chest for eating crackers. Well, that brings us to the end. How do I score the Pabst Blue Ribbon Hard Coffee Hazelnut? I like it. It's peculiar to an extent. But intriguing at the same time. Is it profoundly different from the original and the salted caramel? I wouldn't say so. Salted caramel is sort of like a salty caramel-esque type thing. The original is sort of like a more or less basic coffee and milk type concoction. And then this has a bit of a hazelnut twist to it. So that will give us one left to tackle, and that will be the mocha. Do I drink a lot of mocha? I don't even know what that is. Is it mocha like a type of coffee from the Arabian Peninsula, which is sort of like where coffee supposedly originated from. All right, yeah, I believe it's something to do with the Arabian Peninsula, like Yemen, something like that. Okay, but anyhow, I like this a lot, and I would give it an A. I'm going to go 94 out of 100, 9.4 out of 10 from the House of Ideas known as Pabst Brewing Company, who couldn't run a website properly to save their soul. But anyway, they do make interesting products, and I'm going to end this review by... That's the truth. But I'm going to end this review by saying this shirt is not a Cleveland Indians logo. They gave these out at the game in Cincinnati. I've been to 2 games at the Cincinnati Reds, and they said this was their 1900 season logo. For whatever reason, that year they made that block letter logo, and they were talking about it in the game program, which I still have. Like today, we're giving out replica, sponsored by Chevrolet. Naturally, you know, the team ain't gonna pay for that stuff, and so people have told me in the past, you got the wrong shirt with the cap. It's the wrong. I'll say no. Check your history. All right. Anyway. And then people will say, you know, Cincinnati Reds, they're the oldest team, started in 1869. Yes, there was a team, actually, in 1869 in the American Association, one of the original baseball leagues that went out of business. They were called the Cincinnati Reds, 1869. There are photos of the team, black and white. After 1 year, the team went defunct, and later on, in like 1881, much later, 13 years later, 12 years later, sorry, they brought back the current Cincinnati Reds. I think it was 81. So they're not really connected, except that they were both in Cincinnati and they used the same nickname for the team. It's like the Cardinals in football. People say, well, the NFL, St. Louis, Chicago, Phoenix, Arizona, whatever team they in this week, whatever town they're in this week, they go back to 1899. Well, yes and no. There was a team called the Chicago Athletic Club Cardinals, a semi-pro team. They got paid money to play. Not enough to live on, but they got paid. That went defunct off and on. Like sometimes they would have a team, sometimes they wouldn't, but a lot of times they would not. And then they got started permanently in 1918, at the end of the First World War, or the World War Part 1, and in Chicago, the Chicago Cardinals, so 1918 to 1959, and then transferring to St. Louis from 1960 to 87, and then Phoenix, Arizona, 88 to present. So you got to take these things and they'll be true in a way, but not true necessarily if you look at the whole history. But anyhow, a most excellent product if you like very sweet, cold, beer-based coffee and cream and hazelnut products. Thank you for watching this video production. Lazy Le Bon Temps Relay. And I'm going to end this review by saying go to Neenah, Wisconsin and tour the 12-5 Coffee Beer Company Concoction Brewery.